To start off the generally true, specifically wrong series, we'll talk about a death. A Swiss airline flight attendant died. And it's obviously suspicious because the cabin filled with smoke, but this is a young person. Smoke inhalation doesn't usually cause a young person. Autopsy showed that they had other issues like a enlarged heart, and that's sort of strange, and some, infection in your lung, which isn't too, I would say, uncommon or worrisome. But what really puts the kicker in it is, why did they die? They said they were lacking oxygen. But why would they have that issue when all the other passengers seem to not die? And I would say the key is they put on a helmet that prevented air from coming in. It's supposed to make its own oxygen. But there's been issues with that before. Some of them weren't working properly. Could that have been the case, that putting on the helmet that's supposed to give you oxygen caused the flight attendant to die? First of all, it's only limited to 15 minutes. Was it longer than that? Secondly, did it work? It's interesting because we talk about things like seatbelts as they're good, and they are for most cases, but sometimes on a plane when you're crashing, the seatbelt may actually be a bad thing, like when it's in the water and the plane's sinking, and a seatbelt prevents you from getting out. Now, oftentimes it's not the seatbelt that's actually an issue, it's the fact that people are so frazzled and disoriented and cannot figure how to get the seatbelt off. But either way, it's a real thing, right? Like when they had the acceleration incidents in different cars, like Lexuses, Toyotas, and they said that, the car wouldn't stop accelerating. They discovered that there was a jam. There's something with the floor mat that caused people's foot to get stuck, or I don't know what exactly. But the car itself did not keep on accelerating magically. But it's sort of the same, right? Somebody died, and that's the thing. These things are supposed to be for safety. But sometimes safe things can actually cause people more harm. And the question is always, when is something good enough to be mandated for everybody? I think that's one thing to think about. In life, you think about decisions. There's decisions that are universally acclaimed as good decisions, like going to college. But obviously, everybody knows Mark Zuckerberg, the Bill Gates, famous examples where going to college, they didn't finish. Graduating would have been a bad idea for them, right? It's obvious we have these exceptions, but if you think about life, lots of things are generalizations that aren't always true, and specifically in your case, in your specific instance, it may not be correct. I was reading a story about some guy who was captured by, I think, Hezbollah. And he has no ill thoughts, but if you look at his experience, it's one of those 1 in a million experiences. He met the leader. Nothing ill befell him. His wife would treat him marvelously. She had a great time. Like, how often does that occur? And that's the thing. Everybody has individual experiences. In the medical field, we read a lot of literature and talks about sample sizes. How many patients were in a study? And I think I find superbly interesting is, even in studies that are wildly positive, everybody acclaims it works. It didn't work for everybody, because that's not the way it works. We don't understand things well enough to say this is true for everybody, because people's bodies may be different, and they are different. And here's the thing. How do we make rules and generalizations and things when cases may be different and things don't always make sense? And I would say that's a big issue for today, when a lot of rules are outdated from even tens of years ago, not even hundreds of years ago, like the US Constitution. How do you validate that in today's world? Is it even generally true anymore? Is it accepted? Why do we believe things? They're passed on mostly by tradition, but what is to say that they're still correct today? remember my attending in residency telling me, I asked them a question. So we have a ventilator, there's a tube that goes in your throat, and we're taught in school that you have to take out a tube after a few weeks. And so this patient who was young had it taken out after 2 weeks, and they put a tracheostomy, which is they cut your neck open sort of to put a tube directly there. Because they thought this is bad for you. And I said, is that really correct? And he says, well, the studies were done when the plastic was a lot harder. Now we use flexible silicone. It probably could be left in there for weeks on end and it's fine. What does this say that rules and regulations are still correct? Because we have specific instances that they're not. How many specific instances does that have to take to make the rule not correct or to have to be replaced? I think we'll explore this, talking about generally true and specifically wrong instances over the past few months.